Welcome to Pulp Mortem, the search for a lost science fiction classic. Hey, surprise everybody, I'm still alive. I didn't have an accident after the last video we did. Although on an unrelated note, somebody has been snooping around my house at night. So this episode, I decided to turn the temperature down a little bit and tackle something with a little less global significance. Actually, today we might be talking about the most obscure science fiction book of all time. But first, let me tell you everything I know about the author.
You get nothing!
The only Willy Wonka is right. In fact, I don't even know if Paul James was this author's real name. Now, if you look here, the copyright is Larry Price from an idea by PJ. So I looked up a Larry Price, and apparently he did some band biographies, some detective stuff, collaborated on several horror books. But let me be clear, I was unable to confirm that this is the same Larry Price. So basically, I can't tell you anything about Paul James or Larry Price.
Gee golly, thanks, mister.
ISFDB records that James wrote one lone novel, which brings us to Rogan. Rogan, hear me. Once the regulators were great. We took pride in our destiny. Guardians of the Galaxy. Overseers of the entire cosmos. But when the evil influence of the mall destroyed a generation, we were reduced to petty squabbling and dishonorable dealings. Now we are a race of cowards. In you, Rogan, lies the potential for a return to greatness. Through you, the regulators could defeat them all and protect the universe. There's a planet called Earth, Rogan. Go there. Begin again the crusade of the regulators. And so begins a quest that is to stretch across the light years of space, the first story in a cosmic series of gripping adventure. Rogan is an original story first published by Mag Read Limited in 1980. It was made into a hardcover the next year. It is 112 pages and originally cost whatever all this foreign monopoly money here means. The cover artist is, come on, did you really expect them to list the artist? We don't know anything about this book. The cover is actually pretty good. It's Diet Foss, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But what about the publisher Mag Read Limited? As far as I can tell, this is the only book they published. Finding this novel... look at skinny. Finding this novel it will take a little bit of digging, but I was able to find it online for a couple bucks. Even the hardcover goes for $4 or $5. We are on the planet Regulo 5. A majority of the people are the lower class, called subregs, and they all come together once a year for this annual ceremony where they are able to test themselves for a chance to become a reg. The test is highly ceremonious, it's confusing, it's actually kind of creepy and nonsensical, but here our hero, the eponymous Rogan, passes the test with the highest scores ever, along with his best friend Granin. The regs, or regulators as the back cover refers to them, are essentially the police force of the universe. They're keeping peace, they're defending the universe from the mall. Now you ask, what is the mall? We don't know. We're never told. But the issue is the regs have not been doing a good job. They've become cowards or lethargic.
And I try to live my life at this point with as little effort as possible.
Like perhaps mall operatives have infiltrated the inner sanctum. I mean, who knows? Who cares? However, Rogan has been sponsored by Makla. Makla is one of the members of the inner sanctum, one of the ruling members. And he has been brought in to be a secret reformer for the entire reg system. He is to be the first in this new generation of space heroes. Unfortunately, his buddy Granin has been influenced by the comically evil Denhall, who knows that Rogan is the main character of this book, and so therefore must be stopped.
Don't think about it.
Also, there's a B plot over on Earth where the president of Earth must quell this mining uprising on Titan. Oh no, but then this giant moon-sized ship or orb or something called the Time Server suddenly appears and threatens a spaceship. I think this spaceship is working for Earth or one of the Earth forces, I think.
Don't think about it.
But our hero Rogan must thwart traps, betrayals, accidents, and eventually travel to Earth to stop the Time Server and save Earth. So, what's good? This is short. This is very short. I mean, 112 pages, but look how skinny that is. Doesn't that look smaller than that? So yeah, this is good. This is very good. I read this in one sitting. It's good because if this was any longer, I might have gouged my eyes out and slammed my head into the hardest object within reach. And now, the bad. Misspelled words, punctuation errors, and incorrect adjectives. Often the wrong word was just used, like James didn't know the correct word to use, and so he used something that kind of sounded like it. Like at one point he's talking about something that's very small and minuscule, and he uses the word quirk when I'm sure he meant quark. Now, I'm not saying this read like a first draft. This read like somebody started a second draft, but kind of showed up hungover, kind of sleepy, and left early for the day. Now, Paul James or Larry Price or whoever wrote this just wasn't good. Like, I just highlighted some of the issues there, but this is just very amateurish. Like, here are a few examples. The captain of this ship is leaving the bridge, and it says here that he left the bridge carrying his beloved charts. Why beloved charts? We don't get any indication that he loves charts. We don't even know what these charts are. Why is the captain even carrying them? It's not like they're mentioned again. He admired the captain's handling of the ship, but sometimes he quaked at Rodriguez's blasé attitude. Quaked? Like your captain is very calm. That's kind of what you want in a captain, right? Being very calm, blasé, as you say. But you quake at that? Do you really quake at that? I don't think I've ever quaked at anything. In fact, the very next line demonstrates the exact opposite. Several hours later, the captain was back on the bridge, his swarthy features alive with eagerness. Blasé or swarthy? This entire book reads like this. I'm constantly going to... Wait, what do you say? What do you mean here? If PJ wrote another book, I don't think I'd read it. The Regs travel through space via force fields, which is cool. I mean, just the men, though. You see, the gamma rays from the force fields can really, quote, wreak havoc on ovaries. Sorry, ladies, your silly female bodies prevent you from space travel. Aww.
Uteruses before deuterus, got it. Ovaries before broveries.
Don't worry, Paul James lets us know that at least women are still useful for administrative stuff. The back cover teases that Rogan will travel to Earth to defeat them all and defend the universe. Okay, that sounds cool. But Rogan starts preparing to leave on this quest right here. See that? So this much here is the quest we were promised. This much is all whatever. This here is the quest. Honestly, I was so done at this point, I didn't care. At the very end, the time server is destroyed, Earth is saved, the mining uprising has been quelled, everybody's happy. How? I don't know. I read it twice. I know it explodes. Rogan shows up. Things happen. There's robots that are shooting. A spaceship flies. I don't know. I couldn't really tell what was happening. The climax was very unclear. I guess he won, though, so... Good job, Rogan. Yeah. But was there fun? Yes, there's a lot of fun. This book is unintentionally hilarious. Now, these Regs, they seem to be humanoid or human, and they call every part of their body, they call their hands, their head. Everything is the same, except they call their eyes optics. There's just this. This was the one SF phrase was, oh, these are aliens because their eyes are called optics. It made for multiple baffling sentences as people are constantly shielding their optics and closing their optics. Sipping at her fresher, Nico stared into the crowd with unseeing optics. Sip her fresher? I barely know her! I still have no idea what that sentence means. At one point, Rogan and his friends decide to celebrate by successfully passing the trials. And so him and his friend Katian they go to a pleasure house or something, which at first I was like, oh boy, here we go. But nothing like that, nothing that your twisted minds automatically go to. It was like a carnival. There were rides. And at one point in this pleasure house, they got on like planes and flew, but they're all of a sudden they're no longer in a house. They were flying around the countryside. Anyway, it's dumb. But as I said, Rogan is in this plane with his friend Katayan, and all of a sudden, the ship begins to malfunction. The ship is going down, and Rogan is struggling to correct this downward trajectory. Luckily, the ground control is able to throw up some force beams to catch them. The force beams must have collided. In their desperate attempts to recapture the wing, the ground crews have allowed the beams to strike each other. The two mighty power sources would have collided with the force of a nuclear explosion. And so it shook them up a bit and broke their wing. With the force of a nuclear explosion! One of the Earth vessels is flying near Neptune when they feel a strange tug. What the heck is that? Full power, get clear of it. They get clear of it, and it turns out that right next to Neptune was this collapsed neutron star that had created a black hole. Now, I'm not an astrologist, so correct me if I'm wrong, but if we had a black hole here, then would we really have all this stuff here? Now, if somebody said, hey, Jake, you need to cool it. This was written by a well-meaning 12-year-old boy. I would believe them, and I would just say, hey, I'm sorry, little buddy. Hey, you did good. You did good. Good job, bud. For being the second most intelligent reg on Regulo 5, Grannon is a friggin' idiot, extremely gullible. It was ridiculous how easy it was for Denhall to brainwash him. It is Makla who is determined to destroy our race by making us overextend ourselves against the Maul, knowing that will bring about our final destruction. He preaches honor and revenge all the time, knowing that such moves will lead our race to its doom. He is an agent of the Maul. Here Denhall had leaned nearer and lowered his voice, even sharing in their name. The words pounded through Grannon's head. Maul, Makla, Maul, Makla, Makla, Maul. When, first of all, I laughed out loud when I read that. When confronted with this level of logic, all I could think about was the 66 Batman movie.
Could be any one of them, but which one? Which ones?
Pretty fishy what happened to me on that ladder.
You mean where there's a fish, there could be a penguin?
But wait, it happened at sea. See? Sea for Catwoman.
Yet, that exploding shark was pulling my leg.
The Joker.
It all adds up to a sinister riddle. Riddler. Riddler?
Makla will pay, Grannon. You can be assured of that. He made Rogan engineer the accident. I did not realize that he had managed to trap your friend under his power so strongly. I am sorry. They are referring, of course, to the plane crash, which unfortunately killed Katanyan and left Rogan in critical condition, touch and go, then on life support, then in a coma, and finally, after a long period of rehabilitation, he was back. He did all that. He orchestrated all of that. That, my friends, is some 4D chat. I can't even say it. It's so silly. Obviously, it's been building for a long time, and tensions between Rogan and Grannon come to a head. Now, how do you think a science fiction climax written in 1980 from somebody who did not write science fiction would go down? Clearly a lightsaber duel, right?
And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Sorry, not lightsabers. They're not lightsabers. Radium swords. Definitely not lightsabers. They're not light. They are. In preparation for his mission to Earth, Rogan needs to learn all of Earth's history and become fluent in every single language. So how does he go about doing this? Well, taking this pill. Here, just take this pill. I can't even add a joke onto this. It's that stupid. So, any of the viewers out there who are gamers, you know when you're playing a video game, you're getting low on health, you're in the middle of a battle or something, you're getting low on health, but you don't want to use a med kit or a flask or a healing item because you know that you're about to level up, then all of a sudden you would level up, get stronger, and get all of your health back, therefore enabling you to defeat whatever you're fighting with ease. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Rogan, during the lightsaber battle, he is getting beaten, and then he levels up. He is literally getting beat, then he levels up, has no more injuries, and is able to defeat Granin with ease.
What the
Let me explain. While Rogan was healing from the plane crash, I guess Makla gave him impulses. They called them impulses. Now, these impulses cannot be manually triggered. We aren't exactly sure what they do or what they are, but we do know that he will be randomly given a new strength, a new power, a new ability when the moment calls for it. However, he can't trigger it. It comes with intuition. It'll pop out exactly when you need it. So basically, Rogan has a built-in Deus Ex Machina, a genetic get-out-of-any-jail-free card. This, my friends, is without a doubt the laziest writing decision I have ever read. All right, it's been a while, but we need to hand out another Stupidest Line Award. This is in the beginning, still in the giant ceremony, and Rogan and Granin had just passed the first test, and so they're about to leave the ceremony cavern. Let me read it. Rogan made his way onto the small antechamber ahead of the others. Before entering the room, he looked back for Granin. The other was still on the ledge, milking the atmosphere in the cavern for every last drop of emotion. You know, that's what my grandfather used to say every time we'd go visit him out on the farm. Here I am, 4 a.m., up at the butt crack of dawn, milking the atmosphere for every last drop of emotion. Oh no. So what's the verdict? Thrift Shop. This is amateurish and dumb, but I can't bring myself to return it to Pulp. There's something cute about it. Plus, I appreciate that strange oddities like this are out there. I want to recommend it just because of how unintentionally funny and preposterously obscure this is, but I can't. It sucked. But do you want to know the real tragedy? Look here at the front cover. No other books were printed. We'll never get to see the rest of Rogan's adventures.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
And that is my review of Rogan. Tell us in the comments, have you read this? Stop lying. You have not read this. You didn't read this. Nobody's read. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time with Costigan's Needle.